draft for game number 2. We're straight back into the action with BLG locking a Tristana first pick, and JackeyLove immediately goes for the center once more.
Have to say, I'm not a big fan of BLG still going towards these 80 carries for Knight. It just doesn't feel like Knight when he's playing them. His Tristana even last year was not necessarily his favorite. It's not necessarily his comfort pick. The center for JackeyLove absolutely is. This dude is so cracked on this pick, and Creme has made himself into a real Azir aficionado as well. TL Top Esports have made a mage out of the assassin player, and he's really happy taking this pick.
I'm kind of surprised to see the mid laner locked in at this point, since you could go third. You already know you're against that Tristana. However, not wanting to reveal their hand perhaps, and wanting to see what else they're up against before the next lock-in. Ezreal being Hormone, it's been an incredibly potent pick in the current meta. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. Maybe even an AP jungler could be an option, but Leona has also made it through the bans, so I totally understand locking that one in.
Yeah, that Leona is so powerful to just go forwards. And when you're against two long-range backlines, in the Azir in the center, it means they are still not safe standing all that distance away. The power of the sun does not care about distance, and it does mean that you can get behind the front line too. Even if 369 and Meiko are to have some tanky champions themselves, they can't necessarily defend their carries in the same way. It's been a long time since you could just kind of lock a Tom Kenshin to your hard engaged supports and save them like that. The Ornn can very much stop everyone else pouncing on top of it, so maybe the idea of dealing with that engage is engage yourself to make sure you can knock up some of the others as they try and get in to follow up that player. And of course, Meiko just walked off an MVP off of a fantastic Ornn game. Makes a lot of sense.
I mean, what were the big win conditions from the previous game? Meiko's Ornn, Creme's Azir, JackeyLove's center. Let's just lock those three in. There's 3 picks again. BLG sticking a bit more to the actual meta. Top Esports just sticking to classic strong scaling picks. Italy take it away from Shun this time around. I wonder where BLG will go with the rest of this composition, what they'll be able to get. I wouldn't be too surprised. I mean, Brand is gone, the Nidalee is gone, Sejuani's taken off of the board as well. Things like the Zyra would still be available, even the Karthus, if Shun does really want to come into the AP junglers.
So you have a problem now. Karthus sucks versus Ornn because he just drops the ults on you, and you kind of just get dunked by the center Ornn. It's very hard to position. Maybe he does that anyway. And Zyra's not awesome versus the center because the center can auto Q your plants and immediately kills them. They banned that anyway, but it's still not great into the center because also they shrug off a lot of your poke with the center heals. So all the same, Shun's not going to have the easiest opportunity.
Yeah, even Lilia, like, you're against Senna. It's not exactly an easy comp to play Lilia into, is it? And they can just peel away from you. Diego and Vi band away, trying to keep Elk safe on the Ezreal. One thing I will say, Ezreal's bane in this current meta, in my opinion, is that Camille. I don't know how confident 369 will be to blind at Camille, but then again, I wouldn't put it past him either.
So, technically hovering over some AD junglers. You already have that mage. Tian going towards the Lee Sin. Vintage from Tian. Tian's been on some incredible form. I think you could argue this might even be his best split ever so far. We're not that far into it, but Tian is so good right now. It is at least a conversation, and he's a world champion, so that means quite a lot. Onto that Lee Sin to bring some of that early game. Shun maybe going towards that Maokai, which can go towards the Scorch Claw as well, and the Liandry's to bring some magic damage from the jungle. It's not that high magic damage though, particularly against something like the Ornn with the center behind it that can heal through things. It's a little bit rough to deal with those tanks now that you don't have significant magic damage.
Are you ready for Lichbane Ezreal to come and save the day for BLG?
Oh, Runeglaive? Yum.
We'll see. Not as the blind pick wouldn't be too surprising. Renekton is up and available. We just kind of saw BLG struggling to really push a win forwards with that Renekton. Maybe more magic damage is the answer. Kennen blind in the top side. What does 369 want to take up against it?
Alright, so, well, we saw YSKM try to play Jackson, so that didn't really work. Kennen counters the Jack, so maybe not that one. Are we going to see something aggressive in that top side? Because you can try and play, you can play towards aggressive picks against the Kennen. The Kennen is very low range. You can play range top lines into it. The Jace can very much go towards that as well. Jace can get all in by the Kennen, but does give you some options to play from longer range, and it will once again be that Jace for 369 trying to play out again another snowballing carry versus carry matchup in that top side. BLG struck first in game 1 to get themselves ahead, but they couldn't stay ahead. Top Esports definitely bailed 369 out. They might need to do so again if BLG want Bin to be the magic damage source that they need.
I mean, Top basically just say, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Sejuani was banned, so we'll go Lee Sin, but aside from that, we're just going to lock the exact same composition as game number 1. BLG, totally different story. We've seen insane Kennen games from Bin before. Shun has played probably more Maokai than he ever wanted to across his career. And we know how good the carries are on this roster. So both very serviceable compositions. We could well be in for another team fight banger here on our screens.
And the first game absolutely delivered. Now, there's always a bit of a mystery towards a game 2. Do you slow down, do you recollect, or do you just go all steam ahead just the same? BLG would love to claw one back and prove that they are still very much competing for that top spot. We've kind of assumed it's been Top Esports for summer so far on their current form, but BLG, it was a heck of a game 1. They gave it a good run for it. Couldn't run away with the Nexus. And in game 2, they'll need to show that they can go a step further again.
JackeyLove and Meiko were 100% win rate on Senna Ornn before this series began across 4 games. They're now 100% win rate across 5 games. They're looking to 6 if they can finish this one out in style. Top Esports just running back their winning composition pretty much. Aside from Tian going for the classic Lee Sin in the jungle. I wonder if he'll run his own skin for it. BLG, though, up against it, bringing some signatures of their own as they head into game 2.
Oh my god, okay, that's some volume. I'm glad they're enjoying as much as we are.
Too right they are. I imagine being in that arena today. What a day to go watch LPL. Tian not going to be running his own skin, unfortunately, but, you know, never mind. Another time, perhaps. As let's talk compositions a little bit more here as BLG. I feel like the ones that we need to talk about more, because we kind of just saw how Top Esports composition functions. Slightly different with Lee Sin, but not that different. But we might have to hold that thought, because Elk and On are getting real cheeky here, but there are 3 players walking towards them. They're about to start the fight onto Meiko, but Tian is here too. JackeyLove gets a sustain, gets some soul stacking up, gets Elk chunked and forced to flash away from the Sonic Wave. Knight moved over to make sure his bot lane can get out, but that's a summoner. I mean, pretty much for free for Top Esports.
I mean, Elk could maybe teleport soon back, but it's not really what they wanted, is it? They get a huge chunk out of Elk, and Knight's going to get himself a good trade, trying to walk between the soldiers so Creme can't trade off it. Look there, right there. He's just outside the soldier range, using his auto attacks. Knight really bodying the matchup. The Tristana's not something he's typically done that well on, but he's really got a great trade.
Really, really important on that trade as well. Knight stands behind the minion wave, so Creme didn't get any XP for the first 3 melees, which means now Knight has the level 2 spike guaranteed for himself, and Creme has to be really cautious not to overstep.
Ah, shame there though from Knight. Ends up missing the W slow. If he gets the damage in the slow, probably gets another 2-3 autos onto Creme. Does get the bomb now, so he'll be happy to use that explosive shot. But Creme, someone who has had such a fantastic year. It has been a glow-up year. You know, he wasn't even bad in 2023. We're excited for him on Top Esports, but the way that he has glowed up on these majors has been something of note. The fact that Knight is starting to punish him on this major, at least in the early game, it's something that BLG desperately need to, because we've seen what Creme can do on these majors, even in just that last game as well.
Yeah, we've seen what Creme can do. We've also had criticisms for Knight this year. You know, I feel Knight is one of these players that will always be criticized unless he's literally like in 1v9 form, because that's just the expectation after all these years. That's On having to flash very early on into the lane, just going way too deep on the tower. Elk actually dashes forward the ignite, denied by JackeyLove, and Meiko survives. In the meantime, Bin's just got a solo kill on 369.
Oh man, Shun was on top side, but it looks like it wasn't even needed. 369 goes down in the top side in the snowballing matchup while we've been focused on bot side the entirety of this game. That's a really strong trade from Elk. Ran the press the attack for the very early damage. Tian is going to go into the top side jungle. Does have the smite as the Shun, so it should be a smite and out. Tian not going to find anything. Luckily for the side of that Maokai. Going to get himself that top side scuttle, but Shun is sticking around.
Oh, spotted on the ward as Shun hunts Tian towards his sapling. Tian gets the crab, tries to get out of there. Knight stops chasing immediately. They're not looking to run him across the map, not if there's no easy kill available. So back to the mid lane Knight goes as he's got a big old wave to work with. Let's take another look at what happened in this top lane.
Well, Shun turns up at 369, realizes he's dead. So he wants to get away from the Maokai. At least burns flash for flash, means that Maokai doesn't get any kill participation. One thing that is meant to be known about this though, if you don't share a kill, you get more XP for the solo kill. So Bin actually gets a slight advantage there too. I don't think it's going to lead to that much. And indeed it hasn't really in terms of those XP bars. 369 though, a flashless Jace is not a happy Jace.
And Bin is on the wrong side. He's also flashless. The E not going to get him out to safety. And Tian picks up a nice freebie on the top side. So, advantage for top esports in the jungle. Advantage for BLG was up in the top lane, but with a wave crashing with no TP up for Bin, he may lose a fair bit of XP there. I'm trying to get onto Meiko as Elk will punish.
Turns out, it's not just a flashless Jace, which isn't a happy Jace. There's a flashless cannon is also not a happy cannon either. At least the cannon minion is going to tank up a lot of damage from the tower. I don't think Bin's going to get an XP range. He's going to be close. I don't quite think he was in range there. He is going to get at least the rest of the wave. It could have been a lot worse. If that was a regular wave, it probably works out worse for Bin, because the huge amount of XP that you get from 6 minions dying probably outweighs the 1 cannon.
It certainly does. 5 minutes on the clock and a much slower pace in this one. Not too surprising. Anyone who's seen a lot of these big series in LPL over the years, typically they start big and they slow down after the first game, or they start really slow and they speed up as the series goes on. Tian once again going to be contesting for a crab. Has to dash to his ward. Had flash available as well. On was trying to get that blind going, but Tian walks away with his life already pickaxe in his pocket as well. That is a scary lease in for this early game.
Yeah, so what Shun was trying to do is cancel out that ward hop with the cube. Doesn't quite win that mind game. Tian ends up getting out to safety. Tian has occasionally played fast and loose with walking into enemy-controlled sides of the jungle, just trying to see if he can kind of greed his way into it. He's just eating the shock blast.
Big damage from 369 as Bin goes in. 369 calls his bluff and brings him down. That was gorgeous.
That's a 999 for me up in that top side. 369 gets that shock blast onto Bin through the minion wave, and the cannon goes down. We talked about this top lane matchup being very snowbally once again. Getting a solo kill is massive for top esports. BLG trying to get a cross map down here. Meiko does have heal from Spellbook. I don't know if that's going to be enough though.
Knock up to start it off. The bomb is on Meiko's head. On takes another shot and he does go down. Meiko grabs a kill. Is there any play you can make towards Meiko's Ornn that works?
Not totally. He gets himself to teleport too, so he's not even going to lose that much. Teleport back from Knight into the mid lane. You can see that both these teams trying to get the most out of these split map plays, the cross maps. They've used up all of their globals now though, so it gets a little bit harder to make the next play after this point. Knight's going to pick up some XP from that mid lane, but Creme largely just been happy sitting under turret right now. And top esports really showing that once again, you really can't underestimate them on the sidelines.
369 goes up to the top side once more. As Tian looks to get behind the tower, flashes to find the king, smites the minion! Oh, Tian! It's vintage, it's 2019 Tian on my screen!
Oh, it is just a vision of the past. Tian massively dunks on Bin, and once again the cannon goes down. Really, going back to this solo kill, you can see that 369 wins the mind game, knows that he's going to use that lightning rush to go wave clear through, try and get the surge afterwards. And he just lands that shock blast full combo. Jace gets the kill.
And then in the bot side, Meiko manages to find that knock-up, sets up for Ornn as Knight now moves up to the top lane. 369 in a 1v1 against the Tristana, and he wins it. Gets a little knock and forces the flash as the Sonic Wave comes through from Tian, but Bin is here. Slicing Maelstrom is available. 369 surely can't get out of this one. Can Bin kill them? Wait a second! Okay, one last auto from Bin finishes the job. Got a little too excited on that one. I thought he was out for a split second there.
But top esports once again one step further ahead on the map. We just said hey, it's harder to make these side lane plays once the globals are down. Top esports, knowing that BLG have just sent both of their solo laners up towards top lane, take a couple of plates on mid lane. JackeyLove gets some gold from that as well. It's kind of nice to get some of that luxury gold onto that setup. At least BLG get themselves something back onto Bin. It was getting really worrying that he was dying so much without that much of an answer. Bin needs to be a factor in these later game team fights. We saw how hard it was for BLG to make it past the Ornn ults in most team fights. Bin on the cannon with the ability to just kind of slam into the backline might have to be the difference maker in a way that he couldn't quite be on the Renekton, even though he tried very, very hard.
I think quite important as well that it's not just Bin getting the kill, it's also 369 missing all of those minions, which kind of evens up the CS a little bit, evens up the XP in that top side. Bin's still behind, but not as behind as he was. So big for the side of BLG to keep their top lane irrelevant. That Kennen is going to be instrumental later on into the game.
You know what? Real credit to both these teams because in snowbally top lane matchups, once the first kill goes down, it's quite easy to just throw your hands up and say, well, we'll just cross map and do something else. Both of these teams, seeing one of the top laners get ahead, have immediately tried to slap back and not let this get out of control. Because we've had so many fingers in the pie now, it's quite hard to tell exactly what's going to happen towards this matchup. You do have a slight gold lead over the 369, but Shun's been hovering on top side for the last age at this point, trying to make sure this top lane matchup doesn't completely go the way of the Jace, despite the fact that he does have a lead for now.
You know, a few minutes ago I said Game 2 will probably slow down if you've seen series like this before. Absolutely not! They're going back towards the top side as 369 caught. Flashes, but the Roots still going to find their mark, and Bin can follow up for it. Flash to find the knockback, the shield nowhere near enough for 369. In the meantime, Tian has been caught, and Knight will finish the kill. That's a shutdown into the pocket of the mid lane AD carry.
BLG strike hard on the top side once again. And what did we say? BLG, even though they're behind in that top lane, are not willing to just let that go. Shun hangs around top side. Shun gets the advantage. Elk even has a teleport to stick alone on this top side if a cross map happens towards the bot side of the map, especially with Dragon spawning in a minute. BLG not willing to let this early game go. And now teleporting for 369. He's getting the direst treatment.
I don't know if that was the TP you want to go for right there. 369. Gonna go down. This time Elk grabs the kill. And that's a 1-4 Jace in the top side. Another wave missed.
That is a rare mistake from top esports to allow one of their lanes to get blown out like this so hard in just a minute's play. The Grubs had spawn. Top esports could have maybe tried to mind game the fact that BLG would back off, try and secure that area rather than focus on the top tower. But teleporting in as a Jace is not a safe thing. Gonna go back to a replay of how Knight gets his kill in this side of the jungle. See that On and Knight manage to hop over the wall. Knight gets himself the full reset from getting himself the full bomb. Creme tries to get close to Knight to get him away from his jungler with the ultimate, but he can't quite manage to do so. Loses out in the mobility mind game. And that means that Creme has to watch Knight get ahead in the lane matchup.
I love watching these two teams play. This is just an absolute pleasure. This is just pure joy. As it's 10 kills in 11 minutes, and we could be looking towards an 11th as Bin gets underneath this tower. JackeyLove takes a shot for it. Tian wants a 1v1 against the enemy top laner. Sonic Wave goes slightly wide. I don't know if he wins that, to be honest. He's got an Eclipse.
I've seen Eclipse Lee Sins win that. That's all I'll say on that point. They did have themselves a setter just around the corner too. Ezreal flying up towards the top side to try and trim that wave. It's going to clip parts of it, but it's not going to be enough to stop the 6 Grub top esports. The Grub again in the Zerg rush. Going towards this top lane. So once again feeding gold into this Jace. Even though the Jace is 1-4 and has had every member of BLG visit his lane at some point, has managed to get himself the full first turret in this top side. JackeyLove sharing some of the gold, but he's now very far ahead in that top lane matchup compared to where he absolutely should have been.
I feel like 369 stopped DPSing the tower to try and deny some minions, and then more and more Grubs kept just popping out. It's like, okay, well, I'm clearly not denying any minions here today. Just has to accept that he has to destroy the tower. There'll be a bunch of minions dying to the tier 2 instead. As top esports get their first tower, and apparently this year, or at least this split, still 100% win rate off the back of the first tower. That's a good sign if you're a top esports fan at home.
Back in spring, they had something like 100% win rate with a lead at 15 minutes as well. Top esports, you know, I think there is real credit to this team. They brought over Maokai, who was the old EDG Worlds winning coach. They brought over Despair from Top Esports as well. They've revolutionized their coaching staff, and I feel like their early game in the macro has really evolved with it. On his off vision, might be able to get onto Creme with the Solar Flare if he's not careful enough. I think he's safe for now. But yeah, Top Esports, I really feel like, considering that this team didn't used to be the disciplined macro team, have leveled up so much regards in that kind of area.
And you know, it brings up a question for me, because I feel JackeyLove received a lot of criticism for this team not being disciplined, for this team making crazy plays. He was the crux of a lot of those crazy plays. But to be honest, I wonder if maybe Knight was the one that was kind of bringing the mojo this whole time, because I feel like since he left Top Esports, they have become a much more disciplined squad across the last couple of years. JackeyLove still has his moments, although the siege continues in the bottom side. I don't think they've quite got enough to finish off a tower here. But yeah, BLG, they've got plenty of shenanigans, plenty of mojo brought to that team since Knight joined.
Yeah, this team has, particularly in the group stage of summer, had some happy, fun games. Don't get me wrong, it's been quite entertaining to watch, but also you're sat there quite frustrating knowing that they can play better than that. It's really annoying in some regards. Top Esports, they have been very calm, cool, and collected, and I feel like, unlike, say, in terms of other top teams, I think JDG can sometimes slack off in the early game and just wait until that mid and late game, and that's how they play discipline. They don't look for the big plays. Top Esports still look for those big plays, and they're getting so much out of them the grand majority of the time. They have the 6 grubs now, they have a Senna, they can start sieging down these turrets, just using the Senna Q to just tap down those turrets and apply the grub damage over time as well. Can be really powerful, and Top Esports find themselves at a gold lead despite BLG having the kill lead and the dragon lead. Ocean Soul could be very powerful for them later, but we're finding ourselves in quite a similar situation where it does feel like BLG will want to play towards that Dragon Soul, but they might have to take some losing dragon fights to get a hold of that if they're not careful.
See if they can find those dragon fights. See who those fights are losing for, I suppose, is the ultimate question. Ocean Soul this game. Things have quieted down a little bit. And I will say, I've been thoroughly enjoying the way that these two teams, like, know each other, you know? The way that they're playing, the way that they move around the map, the way that we saw them, like, the wards being cleared. They knew exactly where those wards were going to be in the previous game. It feels like leading into MSI, leading into those internationals, I'm confident that BLG and Top Esports probably were scrimming against each other. I feel like these two teams know each other quite well. But also, both of them just kind of moving away from the AP jungle meta a little bit in this series. Really not been the priority that you would have expected.
They've gone towards junglers which can impact the game earlier, which is because both these teams understand that their carries are on such good form right now. If they get a lead going into the mid game, it is much, much easier to close out those games. Having junglers on such good form can really help with that. Shun is going to be safe. The that Shroud coming in from Senna gives that extra movement speed, can be very important. That was from Fog of War. Probably about as easy as it gets, but sadly misses that.
You said the dangerous phrase of these junglers are on such good form, and then Shun immediately almost gets caught out, but he's okay. Keeps himself safe. And to be honest, I think a quieter game like this, for me, favors Top Esports. I mean, again, Ornn, Senna, Azir, Jace, like this comp is perfectly happy to go long. This time around, though, I don't think it's as one-sided. Last time, it was Nidalee Renekton. This time, you've got a Kennen up top. You've got a Maokai who's really great in the late game, finding those engages with a Leona, plus 2 scaling AD carries as well. This is definitely not just a ticking time bomb for BLG like it was last time around.
Yeah, I think it's still, as you rightfully said, it's still Top Esports' favorite if it comes to 5v5s, particularly if it's a front to back, especially if it's front to back. BLG will pretty much always need a flank of some kind, whether that is the cannon or whether it's a Maokai kind of strafing the team as well. Got the dragon spawning soon, make it caught out. That's not a great start for them, but he might just be able to get out. Flash blow.
Okay, they've got a flash out from the Ornn. Not the most impactful summoner, but Bin is behind enemy lines here. Doesn't commit to going for the slicing maelstrom. I guess Tian could have just kicked him away. So Bin holds his nerve, plays discipline here. And now into the pixel brush. He wants to find that opportunity for the slicing maelstrom as BLG start the Drake off on. Has found Meiko on the top side, and immediately Knight moves over to the rescue. Ignite comes on down, True Shot Barrage. Won't find much, and Elk forced to flash by Meiko. Both teams blinking health bars has been still hiding off to the side, still searching for that flank. The roots come on
teleports.
through. That's enough to find the Drake. TP out from Bin. They won't be expecting this one. Short range TP to start the fight, but they can't finish off any kills, and instead it's on to 4.
Magnificent exhaust from Meiko. He gets so much damage denied. It allows Creme and JackeyLove to survive the big engage as well. Despite it being such an inspired teleport, it leads to almost nothing for BLG. They do get themselves the dragon. That is the big win. Okay, you know what? Take it back. That is still a big win. But given that they should have maybe had 3-4 kills and get themselves a huge swathe of advantages across the map, that is much less than they would have hoped for.
I mean, in the grand scheme, that was like a An extended Hex Flash there from Bin as Tian is caught in the jungle. That is not your red buff. That is not your jungle. Flash Force, Solar Flare. I'm not sure what follow-up on was quite expecting there.
Maybe a flash from Shun, but I don't even think he had the cooldowns at that point. So Top Esports managed to get their jungler surviving down. Now JackeyLove, no flash, no cleanse, he's dead.
Oh my goodness, Top Esports. Unheard of mistakes this split. They've been playing so immaculately, and yet here in game number 2, a couple of errors across the board. Knight grabs himself a double.
If this had happened a minute later, BLG get Baron and Top Esports might have genuinely thrown the game. As it stands, Creme has a Nash's Tooth. He has 6 grubs to take a good amount of chunk out of the top lane in a turret. Even he might have overstayed if he'd gone for an auto attack. 1 or 2 more because of the roaming members from BLG. But BLG, they are starting to find their feet, and I think having Shun on a really big engaged threat here has really helped for them. On the Nidalee in that last game, couldn't quite, again, get that teamfight impact he would have wanted to. The Maokai is about the easiest champion you can play at the jungle compared to that Nidalee. And you can see right here, the Maokai ultimate does help at the start of this. When you're teleporting onto a regular ward, you don't see it in Fog of War. That's why this ends up working out so well. The Meiko has the Spellbook exhaust. That changes everything. If that exhaust doesn't come through, that is at least 2 people dead. Very good work.
Oh, Creme finds the ultimate on tonight. He's the main carry right now for BLG, and he walks away with his life. Shun moves up to help him escape as well. Tian hunting for more, but the Sonic Wave isn't enough, and a true shot onto Creme as well. Suddenly turns this into maybe a winning play for BLG? I don't know about that.
I mean, if Knight dies, you know what we said about, Top Esports, if they had made that play a minute later, it would have maybe thrown the game. Exactly the same thing could have happened there. Bin died while we were
during the
in replays
guess,
and stuff.
Yeah.
No, very important replays, but Bin dying is quite important, folks. Come on.
Both top laners now at 4 deaths in this game. Like, it's not fun to be a top laner in this series. The amount of
they are having the top lane experience.
Yeah, it's, I mean, to be honest, like, typically you think top lane is an island. Top lane has been anything but an island in this series.
Yeah, it's been more like, I don't know, it's been like an aircraft carrier. Yeah, it's a battleship at this point. It's like, you've got like the aircraft carrier, got all these airplanes of junglers landing there as well, claiming the space as their own, and it really has been the source of so much activity from here. We're getting to the point now, because we're taking so many plays across the map, you've got to watch where all of these wards have been put down as well. It's been a good job from both teams to deny most of the wards that have been put down, but all it takes is one, particularly for Bin to get into a good position, but also Top Esports want a couple of wards there just to make sure they can spot out Bin or Shun on rotation so they catch someone out beyond that point. Baron is now spawned. Any mistake beyond this point probably determines the fate of the game, as long as the team fight isn't, another 4 for 4.
Baron up, and either team, you just know how confident they'll be to try and push that down if there's a misposition from the other. BLG moving in to get some vision. Tian, no flash, remember. About a minute until that comes back up, but has a ward hop to get himself out to safety.
Dragon, Soul spawning in a minute as well. So 2 uber objectives. BLG, they're getting way more value from that Dragon, so they have the advantage when it comes to the threat of both of these objectives. Top Esports, there's a teleport ward behind them.
And here
they're retreating into it.
From Bin, JackeyLove already chunked and taken down as Creme pushes Bin towards the rest of his team. Tian betrayed by his own mid laner. Meiko there to save the day and takes one down, but I don't know if 1 is enough. 3v3 now as Elk is free firing. Knight gets the resets. 369 will walk away with his life, or will he? Flash unavailable for Knight as Elk looks for a little bit more, dives forward, flashes for it. Knight's W surely up any second now, gets into Tri-Brush, and 369 will fall. Another for BLG just as Drake comes up.
Disaster for Top Esports. Their members with the teleports are the last to die as well, so even they can't get back out onto the map. Tian might even get caught up by Elk, who's going forwards with the E.
Elk hunting the true shot. Not quite enough damage. A great shot, though, to find his mark. And that will be Ocean Soul for the side of BLG. Slow fights are no longer an option for Top Esports.
It's going to be a real pain for them. Massive early Soul picked out. You can see that. I mean, BLG, they're just much better at pulling the trigger with the Maokai and Leona. It makes their job so easy. Top Esports get caught in the worst possible terrain. They get funneled into a choke point. It's a bit of an awkward ult from Creme. The fight starts again.
Elk takes a chunk. He does have an Ocean Soul, though, so not going to survive. He goes 1 for 1 with 369. Has been kicked backwards. Manages to flash out the top side of the place. JackeyLove tries to chase him, but Creme is caught under his own tower here. Knight has to do the damage, dodges the roof, but it's Shun to finish the job, and Knight dips back out the bot side of the play. A 2 for 1 in the end for BLG.
Now, the Ocean Soul means that Bin is a little bit higher HP than he could be. That's how really helping top Esports get some control in mid lane. They do somehow manage to burst out a couple of members. Bin maybe looking to proc that Ocean Soul again. That healing is really nasty.
It certainly is. Shun flashes for the engage as well as Knight dives over the wall, and JackeyLove is caught. Tian next to fall as On will deny the escape. Knight stopping any kind of escape route either. Tian will fall, and that will probably be Baron as well. BLG go from win to win.
You ever want an example of how Ocean Soul wins you games? That's it right there. Bin was on like less than 100 HP, regens back up to a point where he can fight and get themselves a fight, which wins them the Baron. They couldn't quite get that the last time top Esports. They do have a Spellbook Smite from Meiko.
Oh god, Meiko gets into the pit and he gets Buster shot out again. That looks funky, and he won't even walk away with his life. Baron and a bonus for BLG. They put a timer on top Esports with these Drakes, and they've used it excellently.
Fantastic objective play from BLG, and you know what? It is about time we mentioned that Yordle in the room as well. We have been talking a lot of smack about Knight and his Tristana play over this summer. He's currently at 7-0-6, and having the ability to reset and get massive damage across this fight is really what ends up winning across them beyond this point. The Ocean Soul's helping them stay in the fight longer too. Bin, look how little HP he goes down to. One less soldier also brings him below 100 HP just about, but the Ocean Soul means that he's getting back 100 HP per tick, even gets a honey fruit, which means he can influence the back end of this fight as well. Top Esports still managed to burst a load of people out. Way better than they should have done, given the state in the game, but it's just not enough.
Knight is just so far ahead on this Tristana as well. He's an absolute monster. And this is a scaling pick. This is a hyper carry. 3 items in 25 minutes as the solar flare gets a slow across the team. The roots come on in as well. Meiko buffers the CC, but he's just not tanky enough at this point in the game. Dashes back towards the rest of his team, and it's not enough damage from BLG. Shun almost went down as well, but again, that Ocean Soul means he can just stick around anyway.
Creme is just split pushing right now. He says, okay, let's not try and fight against the Ocean Soul. We don't want to wave flare against the Baron. Trying to trade inhib for inhib. It is a 6 grub Nashasuth Azir, so he'll make short work of them. At least get something on the board, but he's not really able to stay and get the inhib, sadly.
He doesn't have TP either, so this could be 2 inhib towers taken by BLG. Congestion from top Esports. It's 4v4 here. Bin does have TP, but doesn't have a good ward to get to. So BLG will commit to backing away. They don't want to overstep. They got an inhib. They protected their top inhib, and they keep the play alive.
So, top Esports, they are now pinned back into their base. They have at least gotten some gold onto the Azir, who is very far behind now against this Tristana, who has been given all of the kills over to BLG. They might be able to survive through to an Elder Flip. That's probably what they're aiming for right now, praying to Tian and his fingers on his smite keep to see if he can secure that one. It is going to be a bit of a hard job though, because BLG have so much damage, so much displacement, particularly with that Buster shot. It's going to be really hard to even approach the pit. That's if they can get out of their base in the first place. But that's about as good as it gets for top Esports right now.
Tian on that Lee Sin needs to find his moment, tries to dive in, but On just stuns him up and just has to dash straight on back towards the rest of his team. Bin is TPing once again behind enemy lines. This time he finds the slicing maelstrom that will turn the game in his favor. Creme found as a bonus for BLG, and the Ocean Soul means they can keep on charging forwards. Baron onto the minion wave as it enters under the Nexus towers. Meiko forced away by the bomb from Knight as well. A snipe from Elk onto JackeyLove, and Meiko barely makes it to Fountain. But I'm not even sure Fountain can save top Esports now. BLG, what a dominant game number 2, 20-10 on the scoreboard as they show up and make sure top Esports know this won't be a freebie. They will not go easily. And they find themselves game 2. Meiko forced back onto the Fountain. This is straight up bullying as BLG finish out game 2.
It just had to go to 3 games. Following these two teams through this year, BLG coming off the back of historically dominant splits into a summer where top esports, it feels like they're the ones who are ready to not just be passed the torch, but be really in a position to take it from BLG. They have to do it now in a third and final deciding game. I love the way that BLG have been playing around those Dragon Soul win conditions. They've rolled pretty high given the souls which they've had so far. The Mountain Soul into the Ocean Soul, you can see them being incredibly powerful in those games. But top esports, they will now have to take to the Rift once more against them and see if they can see them off.
Turns out the placement games were just, they were just a warm-up. Now we're in the real groups, we get the real games. This is a banger. And of course, we're going to 3. I wouldn't have it any other way. We're going to jump into a break and we'll find out how